Hi, I'm Marnie and welcome to Exploring Colors. We're so happy you're here today, and today we are going to do some wild weaving. So let's get started. We're going to open up our Exploring Colors box and we're going to take out some of the materials. So we already opened it up for the first time last week. We're going to take out the green package and we are going to take out the scissors, and you will have two small same size packages, but we're going to take the yellow tissue paper with an orange belly band. We're going to take that out, and at the bottom is you are going to have this orange tissue paper with blue belly band. We're going to take that out as well. And I think that is it. Oh, and we're also going to take our glue stick, which we opened last week. Okay, so we're going to put this away. Oh, the last thing is our beautiful ruler. Do you guys know what a ruler is? A ruler is used to measure. And this one is blue, and you may have a different color in your box. And in addition to this, I'm also going to take out this very special pen. So we may not use everything today, but we may. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, to start, let's open up some of these items. Now, in the green tissue paper, let's see, with the pink, hot pink band. Do you know what this is? I think I know what this is. I think I've used this quite often. This is Scotch tape. And what we're going to do, we're going to put aside the wrapping. There is a little plaid, green plaid piece, and you're going to pick that up and you're going to stretch it over the part where you cut the tape. Okay, and let's see what else we have to open. We're going to open up this orange piece. And let's see what's inside here. I'm going to do it kind of carefully. I have two pieces of paper, colored paper, and they're the thin paper. And then I have a folded thick piece of paper. And I have a very interesting cut folded piece of thick paper. And I have some bands of color. Okay, and in this yellow tissue, let's see what's in here. I love that it's always like a birthday party with Exploring Colors. You never know what you're getting. What is this? This is a book. I guess we're going to be covering it. We'll see. Today we are going to work on weaving, and weaving is a way to put either fabric or paper or yarn together, and it's an interlocking that creates a structure that we're going to do today, but we're going to show you how to do that. And I've already pre-cut some of this paper, and we're going to use the one I pre-cut, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. So this paper, I folded it in half, and it has all of these like 1 inch, that's 1 inch lines that I cut. And I cut it, I'm going to show you, by folding the paper in half. And I took my ruler and I measured 1 inch, which is the same as going this way, but instead I used the length of it, and I made a line, and then I measured 1 inch sections and cut it. And this one's already done for you because I want to really focus on the weaving aspect first, and then we will do our own. We'll do the whole thing from scratch. So we're going to open up these bands. Let's see, we have different colors, and I'm going to open up the bands, and you can see an assortment of all different colors, and these are the thinner paper. So when I'm going to turn my paper over to, when we weave, we want to do every other row differently. So for instance, if I go over the blue, then I want to go under the blue with my line. And then I can go over the blue, and you can say it out loud if that helps. And then under the blue, and I pull it out. And I go over the next blue, and then under, and I can pull it up if it helps. And I do think it does help. And then over, and under, and over. And I'm going to push it all the way to the end. Now I'm going to take my glue stick from last week, and I'm going to open it. And remember, we twisted the glue so it came up, so it's a little bit higher. See, it's purple. And I need to now, once I have my paper even, the rows are even with the blue paper, I'm going to glue them down. So I'm going to lift my purpley pink paper, and I'm going to put a dot of glue, and I'm going to press it down, and I'm going to lift and press it down. And that should stay in place. Now, if one of the ends ended up on the other side, I would glue it down on the other side. So now I get to pick whatever color I want. So I think I'm going to pick green. But instead of going over the blue like I did with the pink, I'm going to do the opposite. What does opposite mean? It means something different than what I did before. So if I went over the blue with my pink, I'm going to go under the blue. Now with my green, and now I'm going to go over and under, and take your time. Sometimes this can be hard to do at first, so just take your time, and if you have to lift any of the rows, that's okay. It's good practice, right? And over and under. Now I'm going to push it all the way down with my fingers. I want to go all the way down to where the line was before. So they're snug. And it kind of looks like a checkerboard. Do any of you guys play checkers? I used to love to play checkers. Now, I don't see where I glue it down, so I have to turn it over to the other side. And now on the other side, I have some space to glue it down. And by doing this, it won't move. Okay, I'm going to go back again to this side. So now I want to go and do a different way again. So this was over the blue, this was under the blue, the next pattern is over the blue again. So every other one is going to be the same. So I'm going to go over the blue, and now under, and you'll know if it's wrong. Like if all of a sudden you go two over, you'll see that it doesn't look right, right? So then you'll know to change it. You'll know you have to go under. And you can always pull a line out before you glue it if you don't like what you did, or if you think you skipped something. And that's how we learn, right? Sometimes when we make mistakes, we figure out what we did wrong so we can correct it. Okay, so now we push it down, all the way down, and this side needs to be a little longer because I want it to be even with the paper. And I push it down, and now I'm going to glue it. So I'm going to lift it up. Oops. Lift it up. And I don't have to glue all of this. I just have to glue the ends and glue it down. So now what color haven't I used? I don't think I've used the yellow yet. Okay, so now I don't want to go over because that would be the same unless I wanted that to be the pattern, but I don't. I want it to be every other one is slightly different. So now I'm going to go under the blue, and over the blue, and under. And it isn't so easy to do, so take your time, and you may need to lift it like this, or move your paper around, that's okay, but we're creating this really cool weave. And it's a checkerboard pattern. Every other one. Okay, so now I'm going to push it down and push it close to all the other lines. And since I don't have anything to glue on this side, I need to turn it over. And the ends are on this side. So this is creating a really cool, colorful checkerboard. The blue is the middle color on all of them, but I'm doing different lines of color. So maybe I will go back to I don't have to do the exact same thing. I can do different colors. So maybe I'll do the orange again. So now I go over and under and over and under. I find when I go under, it's easier for me to lift up the line. But if it's difficult, you can just take your time and you can do it any way that works for you. And now I'm going to push it all the way down. Okay. And now I'm going to glue it. Okay, and I'm going to glue this one. All right, we're almost halfway done. We're a little bit more than halfway. This bright pink I haven't used yet, so I'm going to try that. Now, since I went over with the orange, I have to go under with this bright pink. This is a little brighter than that color. And then I go over and under. And it gets harder as you get towards the end. So if you're thinking, oh, this is harder than it was before, you're right. But I know you can do it. And just take your time. Okay. Makes such a great, colorful, fun pattern. All right, so now it's a little too high up, so I'm going to push it down, and I'm going to push it close to all the other lines. Okay, and here, see how it doesn't come to the end here? So I need to push it a little further down. Let's see, that's good. And push it in, and I'm going to glue it. Okay. Wow, it's really fun. Okay, what color next? I think I'm going to do yellow. And since I went under, I don't want to go under. Now, I'm going to show you what it would look like if I did go under. If I did go under, it would repeat the line that I had here. And I'd know it was wrong because it would look just like the line next to it. And that's not what I want right now. So I'm going to pull it out. And instead of going under, I'm going to go over. And I think you get the hang of it now, right? So under, it's over, under, over, under, over, under. Okay. Over, under, over, and push it all the way down. I think I have room for one more line. I'm going to push it as far down as I can go because I want them snug. And if there's a little purple glue stick, that will dry clear, so don't worry about it if you end up seeing that. Okay, I think the last one I'm going to do is the purple. It's the same as the first color I started with. And since I went over, I have to do the opposite, so I'm going to go under. And I think it's going to just fit. Let's go over and then under. And I told you before that the last one is the hardest one to do, because you don't have a lot of room, but we can do this slowly. Let's see if I can poke it through and pull it up. And then I'm going to go over, and if I bend it underneath, and then I poke it through, and you can grab it with your fingers. And take it slow so you don't rip the paper. But I'm almost there. And I'm going to poke it through. Here we go. And then under. And now I'm going to push it down to the end. And I need to glue it, but it's not meant to be glued on this side, so I have to turn it over to glue it. Great. So look at this fabulous thing that we finished. And we're going to do something special with this, but I want to teach you how to make your own loom to weave. I call it a loom. We're going to start with a thicker piece of paper. Now you had a thicker piece of paper, maybe it's not purple, but it's in your package. And this is how I did it, so you can do this yourself. I took the folded piece of paper and I took my ruler. And this is a very special pen. If you press a color, that color, and you press it down, like the light blue, all of a sudden that color comes on the pen. And if you want to switch it, let's say I wanted to do the red, I would just push it down and the other one pops up. And now I have red. So you can use whatever color you want or a pencil, but I like using this. I'm not going to use the folded side. I'm going to go to the unfolded side and I'm going to put my ruler right up to the top of the piece of paper where it isn't folded. I'm with one hand hold it down and with the other I'm going to draw a line. And I have the red pen, but you can use any color you want. And now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do the same thing again. And if I line up my ruler to the edge of the paper, it will be straight. Okay, great. So now I have these wonderful border lines. And if you look at this, it's the same thing, right? I have these blue border lines and now I have purple. Now I want to do some lines this way, but I'm going to stop when I get to the border. So I hold it down and I go right up against the edge of the paper and I'm going to go up to the next line, hold down the ruler with one hand because I want all my lines to be equal. And if you mess up a little bit, like mine dipped a little bit there, that's okay. We're going to use scissors and we're going to cut these lines, but I'm going to show you how we can do it. And if it gets a little squiggly, it's okay. Because I made mine a little squiggly. But I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm going to keep going. Okay, we're almost done. Great. Okay, now we're done. So now I'm going to fold my paper again. And I'm going to start on the folded part with my scissor. Open up my scissor, hold my hands away, and I'm going to cut just to the end where I have that border line. I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to do the next one. Move my hand down. I'm going to cut very straight. I'm going to open up my scissors all the way. Did you know that the sharpest part of the scissor is right in the middle? So I'm going to keep cutting, always away from my fingers. I'm going to take it slow, and I'm going to cut each line. And this is how I did it. But I wanted you to be able to weave first, and then I thought it would be fun for us to do this together. Okay, so now if I open this up, let's see if it looks like mine. It does. Okay, now we need different strips of paper to weave in. Now you can either do it, I gave you extra paper, 2 pieces. You can either do it the same width as the ruler or these lines, or you can do it thicker or thinner if you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my paper the same way, and I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure. And I'm going to make lines. And if you go right up against the top of the paper and you go up against the line before it, as your guide, they should be very even. And rulers are great for doing that. They give you a nice straight line. And you can put it right up against the line before and make sure the top of the ruler is right at the edge of the paper, so it all lines up. Okay, we're almost done. And in your packet you have extra thick and thin paper, and I use the thick paper to make the loom, where I went corner to corner, folded, and then we measured 2 borders, and then we took our ruler and we made lines and we cut strips. Now with the thin paper, we hold it this way, and the same way as if I open up my loom. And now we're gonna cut these short strips. And I'm cutting 2 pieces of paper together. And I may not need all of it. I probably will only need half of it, and I can make another one if I want to. But I just wanted to show you how you could do it. And if I wanted to make one of these thinner or thicker, I could. I'm going to show you. If I want to take one of the strips and use my ruler and just go to the top and make it half as thick and then cut it, I could have fun with different size strips. Oops, it's shifting. Let's see what happens. So it's not going to be totally even, but might be interesting. Let's see. Okay, so we have different thicknesses of strips, and let's see, how did we start? Did we go over and then under and then over? Yes. So we're going to go over, under, under. You're going to be hearing this in your sleep. Over, under. And then we're going to push it all the way down, and we're going to make sure it's even on the paper so it hits both sides, and we're going to use our glue stick and glue it down. Now what happens if I take the thin pink? Do I go over? No, because I went over already with this yellow green, so I'm going to go under. The opposite. So I'm going to go under, over. Sometimes if I lift the whole paper, it's easier. Whoops. And then over, under, under. But this gives you an idea of how you can make different thicknesses and how different it looks when you do that. And you may decide to do all different thicknesses, and you can do that. Okay, I'm going to push it in, but I cut these strips so they're they're from the more narrow part of the paper. Okay. Now I didn't push it all the way in, so you can see how different it looks. Now maybe I'll take another thin one, and since I went over and then under, now I go over again. So it's the opposite. And if you glue the ends each time, you'll find it won't shift, it won't move, it'll make it much easier for you. That's why I leave my glue stick out. So you're going to go all the way to the end. And I can't wait to see what colors you guys are using. Each box comes with different colors, so each one of ours is going to look a little different. And you may cut your bands a little bit thicker or thinner than mine, so it may look a little different. And I really hope that you put your designs up on Instagram and hashtag exploring colors so we can share. Okay. So it doesn't look as neat, right? Because I hand cut a lot of these, and they're not exactly perfect, but sometimes that's more interesting, right? So since that went over, I'm going to go under now. And then over, and then under, and then over, and under, and over, and under. And this one's a little different in that I'm using just 2 colors, right? Different thicknesses, but just 2 colors, the pink and the yellow green. Now if I turn it over, see how I didn't go to the end here? So I'm going to pull it a little bit. And now I'm going to glue it. These would make great placemats too, right? What else could they be? We can play around with different ideas, but I love how different they look and how fun they are. Let's use another thick one. Okay, so since I went under, now I go over. And we don't have that many more to go. Okay, we're gonna pull it and over and under and over and push it down. Now what would happen if, now I need to pull it a little bit and glue it. What would happen if instead of doing pink next, I did another yellow green? Should we see? Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so, and you can experiment, and that's part of the fun. So instead of going over like I did before, I'm gonna go under and then over and then under and over and under and over. So that looks a little different too, right? And you could do the whole thing with just two colors, but it shows you how your patterns are so different depending on how many colors you use, the thickness of your different lines that you weave. And we're using paper. And I love this colorful paper. Okay, I'm going to use a different color. This was from our first one. I'm going to grab this and go under. Nope, I'm wrong. And that's good to be wrong because that's how you learn. The one before it was under, so now I have to go over. But I caught myself, and before you glue it, you can change anything. So it's not a big deal if you make a mistake. And the last one is always the hardest, so I'm going to take my time. And now I have to go under and pull it and over. It's kind of like knitting a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to just go to the end. Let's see, this one is not, it's puckering, so I'm going to re-glue it. Okay, and I'm going to pull this to the end. Okay. So now I've done two weavings, and you have more thick paper that if you wanted to play and do one more, you could, and you could cut more strips. But I'm going to leave that for another time. But now we're going to do something with our weavings. Like you could use this as a placemat. You could make a card out of it. It could be a card for somebody where you bend it and maybe you put a white piece of paper with a note on the inside. But what I thought we would do today with one of them, and I'm going to use my first one because I like it a little bit more, is I thought we'd cover this book. This brown covered book. It's great for sketching, right? For writing, for sketching. You could do designs in it. And I thought this would make a really great book cover. So it has a bend in it. And look, it's just about the same size. That's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to glue. Oops, I have to roll it up a little bit more. I'm going to glue right on the top corner, and I'm going to make lines so that there's glue everywhere, and I'm going to try to line up my paper, and it's not totally lined up, so you're going to play with it a little bit. And I'm going to press down, and then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to do the same thing where I go around just one side at a time because the glue is sticky, the glue stick. And I'm going to make an X, and I'm going to take my paper and fold it back. Oh. Now I have tape in case I need to kind of make it a little more secure. I think it should hold, but if you want to make it a little more secure, what you could do is you could tape it. Like what I may do is do a little bit of tape here to make sure it holds, but I'm going to get rid of the very beginning of the tape. Use my scissors, and it's clear tape so you don't really see it so much. Okay. And I'm going to try to bend it down. And I see a little bit of the book and it's popping up. So let me try to take this off and glue it a little bit better. I'm going to take off my tape. And this is how we learn, by experimenting. I'm gonna put more glue on. And if at first you don't succeed, you try again. So I think it might hold without the tape. At first I was going to put tape, but I think I'm going to let it dry and see how it does. And if it holds well, I won't use the tape. And if it doesn't, I'll come back and use it. But this book is really great. And what I may do is put my name on it. I could take my special pen and maybe in purple, I could write my name, M-A-R-N-I-E. And then maybe a heart. And then I could use this pen to do wonderful designs on the inside. I'm going to write Marnie's book. And maybe you want to give this book to someone else. But in my book, I'm going to do lots of sketches and designs, and it's all of my weaving. And you could take this other piece and you could add some of your own paper inside. You could make a card. It could be a cool, just little bridge or a note where you write something on it. But you will have so much fun practicing weaving, and now you know how to make this wonderful design, and I can't wait to see how you did it and what your books look like. So please take photographs of what you did, and if you draw in your sketchbook with this cool pen with all different colors and you just press down each color, I'd love to see your drawings too. Please take photographs, have your grown-up put them up on Instagram and hashtag Exploring Colors, and we have a really fun project for you next week. See you then.